Georgie and welcome back to another reading wrap up. I feel like I haven't done a reading wrap up in a long time, like maybe since February. I'm not too sure. For some reason at the end of the month, I just kind of get in my head about it. I'm like, oh my god, did I read enough books? Am I gonna talk about them well? I don't know. I just like get in my head a little bit, but I thought that I just really want to start doing it every month because it's just fun to see. I love watching other people's reading wrap-ups, and yeah, hopefully you get some good recommendations out of this video. Cannot believe we are in June now. June is honestly going to be the biggest month of my life to date. I have my wedding this month and my honeymoon, and I'm seeing Taylor Swift next week, and I just... like, this month has been, I've been waiting for this month for a long time, and it's just insane to me that it's finally here. Like, I'm getting married in like 2-3 weeks. Like, what is going on? And for that reason, like, I don't know why I'm like, why am I getting emotional? It's just like so overwhelming that June is finally here. There's just so much happening. Because June is so busy, I'm not going to set myself a TBR because I do not need any more stress this month, and I just really think that I'm going to mood read, and I'm not sure if I will read a lot. I will on my honeymoon, hopefully. I'm definitely bringing a lot of books then, and I really want to record like a video on what books I read in my honeymoon, so that'll be a whole other thing. But I just think if I set a TBR, I'll most likely not finish it or get to it, and I don't even want to think about a TBR right now because I've just got a million other things to do. And I really think I want to record quite a lot of vlogs. Like, I definitely want to record a Taylor Swift vlog, like a week before the wedding vlog, a honeymoon vlog. So it may be one of those months where there's not a lot of reading, but yeah, I just have a, as I said, very busy month. But let's get to the books that I actually did read in May, and I feel like I read a good amount. I read 6 books, which we have stacked all here, and I did actually get the analytics of this month written on my iPad, which I'll just read out. So this month I read 6 books, 2,059 pages, 3 romances, 1 Irish fiction, 1 thriller, and 1 YA fantasy, which I'm really pleased about. I feel like I usually do read around 5 books a month, just like not when I'm trying to read a lot. That's just kind of my natural, you know, what I read every month. But yeah, we had some good ones, and let's get into it. We started off high with a very anticipated new release by Emily Henry, and I'm sure if you're an Emily Henry fan, you've probably read this book by now. This one follows our main character Daphne. At the very start of this book, we see that she's engaged to a guy, and he is on his stag do. And basically on that stag do, he realizes that he is in love with his best friend, and they basically decide to be together, leaving Daphne and Miles broken up with, heartbroken, and yeah, it just kind of follows their story from there. I don't want to give too much away. At the start of this book, I was very conflicted with how I was feeling because I honestly didn't love Miles. I just thought the description of him was like very icky, but then I did kind of realize, like, I thought more about it, and he is going through such a big heartbreak. You know, it's a lot what he's going through, and we can't really judge him through that stage. But yeah, at the start I definitely wasn't loving Miles, and I feel like I've definitely loved other guys in Emily Henry's books more than what I did with Miles. As the story went on, I did start to love him a bit more, and I really did get connected to these characters. And with Emily Henry books, I always love the side characters and the side stories that are going on other than the romance, and I really think that I enjoyed the outside aspects of the romance more than what I did in this book. Does that make sense? What I'm saying is, like, the romance wasn't the thing that was carrying me through this story. Like, I just really loved what was going on in each of their lives as well. I just thought that was so interesting. But that is the reason that I gave this a 4-star and not a 5-star. I really did think that I would give this a 5-star, but a 4-star is still an amazing book. It's just the romance wasn't quite hitting it for me all of the time. And I read Powerful by Lauren Roberts, and this is the novella after Powerless. And if you read Powerless, you know how this one ends, and I just went through heartbreak all over again, even though I knew what was coming. But basically we follow Hayden's best friend Adina, and it's taking place during the same time as Powerless. It's just through Adina's perspective and what she's going through while Hayden is in the trials. There's a little bit of a romance here, and I just really love the 2 characters in this book. The only reason this book didn't get a 5-star is because it was so short, and I just feel like I just fell in love with Adina all over again, and I just have so much respect for her character. And the love interest in this, I forget his name, what was he called? The main guy in this is actually called Mac, and I do really think that he's going to come up in the next book, because now that we know more about him, it would just make sense, and I feel like he might do something. I don't know, but I think he might bring drama to the table, and I really, really love his character. He was just so sweet and golden retriever vibes. Like, I just loved how much he loved Adina. And yeah, it's just a great book. If you want to get into the series, please do. I love this story so much. I just think Lauren Roberts' writing is amazing. I gave this one a 4-star, and it 100% would have been a 5-star if it was longer. I might even give this one a 4.5 because I just love this world. I'm gonna stick with a 4.5. Then I picked up Butter by Saku Yuzuki, and I was really excited for this one. The only thing that was kind of putting me off is that it is so long, and it is a thriller. And I do find with thrillers that I do prefer them to be a bit shorter, just so it gets like wrapped up quicker. I don't know, I feel like a thriller doesn't need to be dragged out as much, and I did kind of feel that this one was quite dragged out. It was definitely, for me, boring in some parts. It is based off a true story, and it follows our main character, who is a journalist, and she's basically trying to get insight into the life of our other main character, Kaji, who is currently in jail for the several murders of men. And we're just trying to like get into her life and see how she thinks almost. Kaji has a real love for cooking, and that's how our journalist gets a friendship with her. Like, she connects with her over food, and I just feel like food was the main plot of this book. Like, I don't know if there was some hidden meaning that I'm just missing, but a lot of this was just descriptions of recipes, and I just feel like none of this for me was thrilling in any way. I did love one of the side characters, who was the journalist's best friend. I really liked her story in it, but I don't know, this book just wasn't that exciting for me. I never really wanted to pick it up whenever I wasn't reading it, and for that reason I gave it a 3-star. Next we have Beach Rivals by Georgie Tilney, and this was just a very cute book. Like, the main character in this is kind of job hopping. She doesn't know what she wants to do with life, and she sees this job advertisement for a bookshop in Bali, and obviously that just sounds like a dream. So she applies for it, gets the job, and just moves her life over to Bali. And she does realise that when she gets there, the bookshop isn't really what she expected it to be. It's very run down, and it just needs a lot of work, and that is kind of her project for the next few months. So she's on contract, I think, for 3 months to be in this bookshop. So it's kind of like a holiday for her as well, but she is sharing an apartment with the guy that works in this shop with her. He's also doing the 3-month contract, and there's a bit of a romance there. I mean, there is a romance there. It's a romance book, but I just didn't feel like the romance was strong. I actually thought the guy in this was so mean. Like, I don't know. I just really didn't like him. I just thought it was like kind of icky the way he was getting on. Like, I just didn't like his behavior, and I just thought that he was so dull and so serious all the time, which was complete opposite to the main girl in this. However, I did love the setting of the bookshop and the fact that they're booksellers, because I'm a bookseller, and I just felt like I could relate to some of the things that they were saying. But that was the only thing that I was kind of loving about this. I just didn't enjoy the romance in this at all. So I gave it a 3-star. Then whenever I was really sick this month, I read Close to Home, and oh my god, I loved this book so much. It was really interesting reading a book with the setting of the place that you live in. So this book is all based in Belfast. I know every single place that he's talking about, and it just felt very close to home, as the title says, but I just loved that aspect of it. I don't know if people who don't know Northern Ireland would love this book as much, but if you do live in Northern Ireland, I think you should read this. It's really good. Definitely just like a character study, I thought. And I mean, our main guy has just kind of got caught up in the wrong crowds, I think. And you can tell that he has a lot of ambition. I think he's just being held back a lot by the people around him. And it's just seeing how he deals with that and trying to get out of those wrong crowds, basically. It is a short book, but it is so impactful. I feel like I genuinely know these characters, and they feel like real people, and I don't know if that's because it is set in Belfast, and you can like read the accent in this, which is just so funny to me as well. I did actually listen to some parts of this on audiobook, and it was a Northern Irish guy, and the accent was so strong, which was just really funny to hear, because you just don't hear that in audiobooks. I did end up giving this one a 4-star. I read it so quickly and I just really loved this book. And we ended the month on a high. We read Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez, and I loved this book. If you love Emily Henry, I really think you should read this. I do know that this is part of a trilogy, but they're all standalones, and I did read this one first. I know that there's characters in this book that are maybe main characters in like the first one and yours truly. I don't know really what order they're in, but I just know that you don't need to read any of those to enjoy this book. I loved this one so much. This one opens with a Reddit post that was made by our main guy, who's called Justin, and he's basically explaining that he basically has this curse that everybody who he dates, whenever they break up, they go on to find their soulmate, and it's happened every single time, and he's just making a post about it explaining his situation. Then our main girl Emma sees his posts and realises that she also has this curse, so she reaches out to him and they just start chatting. Then they basically agree that if they fake date for a while, they should cancel each other out whenever they do fake break up, and then hopefully they'll go on to find their soulmates. Obviously there is a romance in here, and I don't want to give too much away, but there is so much depth to the characters in this book. There's other storylines going on with each character which are so real, and I feel like the third act conflict in this book is just so realistic and yeah, just very believable. And I love how the author expressed, you know, like mental health and just like life's problems. I just felt like it was so realistic, and yeah, it was just done very well. I really loved this book, but I also felt like I wasn't overly in a reading mood whenever I was reading this, and I think that's the only reason I didn't give it a 5-star. As I was saying at the start of this video, it is my wedding coming up, so I've just been kind of elsewhere with my thoughts. Every single time I've sat down to read a book, I'm always thinking about what I should be doing. I know that that was definitely tainting my reading experience, so for that reason I did give this a 4-star, but I do really think if I read this at a less stressful time of my life, I would have given this a 5-star. So that is all the books that I read in the month of May, and I am very excited about the month to come. And yeah, I'm not sure how many books I will read, but I definitely want to read a few. I just don't want to give myself any kind of like TBR to follow because that is too stressful. But I had a really good reading month. I think I found some really good books, like Just for the Summer I think was definitely one of my favourites this month, and Powerful by Lauren Roberts. I cannot wait to read the next book in that series, which comes out in July, so not too long to wait. I hope that you maybe find some recommendations in this video, and I will see you in the next one very soon.